Hi, it's Megan. I get the Vice palettes by Urban Decay every year. And I did it this year. Again, Vice 4. And it comes in this amazing pouch. This is something they started doing last year, these pouches. And this one has a really pretty box, a really pretty pouch, and a really pretty palette. And then it says Vice on the back. You open it up. Get the mirror, which I haven't taken the little, and then that's the palette itself, and you get a brush. So the palette is $60 for 0.60 ounces, and it has 20 new, they say, and limited edition eyeshadows. So according to them, they say darkly gorgeous, dimensional hues of an oil slick, deep rich gem tones. So because of that gem tone thing, a lot of people have been drawing a comparison to Vice 2. I totally don't agree. This is very different from Vice 2. And in fact, I think it's very different from the other 3 Vices that have come before. What I like and don't like about this palette is the same thing, which is it's kind of a cool idea to have an oil slick, right? Like that connotates certain images which are more black and murky and shimmer. And so I think Urban Decay, from my perception, is going a lot more smoky this year. Less like nude, less bright, less all of that, although they did have some other releases of individual shadows. But with their palettes, this to me is a super, super smoky palette, and it's also a super cool tone palette. So I think for some people, that's going to be a hugely amazing thing. For other people, it's going to be a hugely negative thing. And when I first saw the palette, I got it, and I got a couple reactions from people. I had this look on my eyes with the greens, and someone said to me, oh my gosh, your eyes look gorgeous. I could never wear that. And it was someone who had really warm undertones, and I started thinking about that a little bit. And then someone on YouTube commented on another video on the Spectrum palette saying that they were kind of disappointed with these shades. And so I think if you like that more smoky look with almost like a shimmer with a blackness in the undertone, you will love this palette. If not, it's not for those who are super warm and super natural looking in general. It's not going to get you there. And the other thing I would say is Urban Decay did a palette a while back called the Black Palette, where they had a blue and a green and a bunch of other shades, and they had this really like blackness to the undertone of the palette. This one has a little bit of an undertone, and it has a sheen to almost every shade. The other thing I would say that I don't like about this palette, and I do like this palette, I do, is I didn't really think they had some great base shades. Last year with Vice 3, some people were really against the silvers Urban Decay did last year, but I thought they were amazing because you could put them right in the inner part of your eye and just totally open up your eye. And then I also thought the palettes last year had a really good underbrow shades. Not just a shade, but like shades. This year I feel like it's a little bit harder to get a complete look from a palette, this palette, which given that it's got 20 shades is a little disappointing. And there are a few that kind of shift and look very different from how they look in the pan. So I'm going to go through them one by one. And like I said, I do like this palette. I have kind of a more smoky look with a little bit of a black eyeliner on the waterline and upper waterline, and it's beautiful. The shadows are beautiful. Just might not be for everyone. Okay, especially if you're warm toned. Okay, Bones is described as an oyster satin with pearl. And this right here is a very great shade for what I'm talking about here, just as I was complaining about there are no shades here. This is the best one, but this one is probably the one of the warmer ones. It's just not gonna show up. It's like a warm, cool grayish kind of a color. And it's cool with kind of pearly sheen to it. This one is not the most opaque, but it does blend. All of these shadows lasted about 8 hours, and I know some people last year complained about the texture of the Vice 3, and some people have complained the past year about the texture of some of the palettes. I thought the texture in this one was really great. I thought it was, you know, traditional Urban Decay for the most part. There are a few shades that aren't quite as good, and I think Bones is not quite as good. Okay, the next shade is Grip. This is described as a taupe matte with iridescent micro glimmer. This one actually comes across a lot darker, and you can build this up, surprisingly. I thought this was really a gray taupe, and it has some really great kind of brown shimmery undertones to it with a little sparkle. It's not the most, I don't know, it's not as light as it looks. It's a really great shade for creating a smoky eye though, and I do like the little bits of shimmer in it, but they're visible bits of shimmer. The next one is Deadbeat. This is described as a black satin with iridescent micro glitter right here. I love this shade. It's a deep, rich black, charcoaly with almost like a bluish, purplish undertone to it. Barely, barely, barely. I can almost see reddish in the purple. And I have this just as a top kind of worked into my lashes. I like this, and I can see little bits of shimmer, glimmer. You can actually see the shimmer, and I think it's pretty. It's like a charcoal gray, and it's like a tealish kind of bluish, really just a gorgeous shade. I love this one. It's a little bit harder to describe, and for me it blends beautifully. The next one is Beat Down. Deep metallic violet with blue micro glitter, and I have this on my eye as well. I have liked the purples this year from Urban Decay. Look at how pretty that shade is. It's just really, and I'm just doing one quick swipe. Since I don't get these for free, I actually prefer to buy stuff so that I can give an unbiased review. I don't cheat. I do one swipe, and if it looks awful, it looks awful. If it looks great, it looks great. So this is one swipe. It's a really beautiful, beautiful purple. I have this in the outer part of my eye and then a little bit in the lower lash line. And so they describe this deep metallic violet with blue micro glitter, and it's a medium dark violet purple. It's definitely kind of, most of this palette is cool toned. Again, this is another cool toned shade, and you can see a little bit of blue in it, but this is like a cooler blue, a richer, cooler blue with little bits of micro glitter. The next one is Pandemonium. And this is a metallic plum with iridescent micro glitter. And it's kind of a black plum. It does have a little bit of a warmer undertone than some of the others, but it's still somewhat cool. And you can really see the micro shimmer in it. It's almost metallic, which is a problem for me. I like the shade. I like the shimmer in it. It's a little harder for me to work with than the one before it, just personally. And there's a little bit of fallout from it. Most of these, and this one too, this one was less opaque than the ones we've had before, of the darker shades. Again, the lighter ones, they're a little light. Framed is described as a light neutral matte satin, and it's a very peachy kind of a shade. It's not going to show on my wrist. Peachy, almost to the point of being orange. And this is one of the few kind of base shades that you have. But it's really a nice shade. It's rich, it blends well, it does have a matte finish, and it applies beautifully. It's one of those, I don't know, Urban Decay does kind of these matte base shades in warmer, this is a cooler palette, this is a warmer shadow, but they do them so well, and I think this is one of those. I really like it. Okay, Fastball, a metallic peachy pink with pink micro glitter. This one, you kind of don't see the micro glitter so much, and you have to be careful with applying. It applies a little patchy. It's not the best shade in the palette, but it definitely has kind of a pink peach flamingo look, and it's a bright shade. Unusual in this palette, as I think this one's more muted than a lot of the other Vice palettes I've used. Okay, the next one is 1985, a metallic fuchsia with fuchsia micro glitter. This one is definitely on the purpler aspect. Gosh, I was just playing with another shade like this earlier today. Oh wait, my lips. I'm just kidding. Actually, not so much, kidding. This one's a little bit purpler than what I have on my lips, but it's a pretty color. It applies really beautifully. Even it's a lot less metallic than some of the others that are frostier in the palette. There's a little bit of micro glitter, but it doesn't really translate so well. Then Underhand, Burgundy Brown Satin. This is like a plum, and this is one of the warmer purples. It almost has like a reddish tint to it. And it looks, I think, different in the pan than it does applied a little bit. It's a nice shade. And so if you like those warmer kind of burgundy, purpley red things, this is a really good one of those types of shades. Harlot is a metallic lavender. This is a silver lavender, very cool, very metallic, very pretty. I like these kind of shimmery. I call them ghost shades. They almost seem to shift a little bit. This has a little bit of a shift in the kind of a blue purple thing going on, pink. It's a very pretty shade. Okay, next we're going to get to Discreet, a soft dusty mauve matte. Now that sounds to me like such an amazing color. And this ends up being a little bit like a lavender, warmer than you'd expect, matte, but still cool since it's lavender. But it's like a matte, purpley lavender beige with a little bit of honey to it. And it's a really great quality texture-wise. I really like it. Okay, Grasshopper. This is a metallic emerald with green micro glitter, and these are the ones I was playing with a lot. And this is just, wow, look at that. It's a very cool true green, but almost veering, I don't know. You can see a little bit of micro glitter in it, and it has, I guess it's veering a little yellow is what I'm thinking, but it's a medium dark, very, very pigmented, and I didn't get any fallout with this shade. Then C Note. Frosted green with micro glitter. I do like these greens. This one I see like hints of turquoise, purple, silver. It's a smoky medium dark green, and there's gold undertone, which makes it a little bit warmer than some of the rest of the palettes. It's still, you know, it's a little warmer, but we're still veering a little bit cool toned in this palette overall. Okay, Arctic is a bright teal with tonal sparkle. So this has a very metallic finish. It has hints of shimmer, like you can see the actual glitter. So if you're getting the hint so far, lots of metallic, lots of frost, lots of shimmer. And again, this is cool, very, very buttery, very intense, beautiful, I mean, just creamy. The shadow quality in this palette I think is amazing, but it's beautiful, cool teal color. Then we get to Robbery, deep metallic brown gunmetal. This is a taupe brown, again, frosty metallic. It's almost silvery, look at that. I think it's an amazing shade. This one's a hard one for me to describe. It's just, wow, but cool. It's a cooler brown, like a gray taupe brown. Then we get to the warmer ones. Finally, we're at the warm row, so let's hold it up. Now we're at the warmest of the shades. So we get to Bitter, which is a reddish brown matte, and I actually was playing, I love this one. Look at how great that is. It's almost like one of those terracotta tiles or something. I think it's more orange than red, definitely brown. And it's definitely matte, beautiful texture, I think. And then Flame I've seen in a lot of like how-to tutorials and look at me kind of today's look, and I've been playing with this one too. I actually like doing Bitter on my lid and then taking Flame and putting it into the crease. And so this is a bright orange with gold micro glitter, and it's like a coral orange with real gold glitter sparkle thing going on. It's a really stunning shade. If you build this one over a base, like take the NYX Milk pencil and put that on, or put it over an eyeshadow primer, this is one of those that like totally explodes. It's a beautiful, rich, pigmented, amazing color. Gold, orange, beautiful. Low. Brown matte with iridescent micro glitter. I don't remember that. God, sometimes you have to look and say, is that really what they wrote about it? I mean, I take my notes too, but then I forget when I get back. So this is a brown with really like silver undertones and big chunky bits of glitter. I get a little bit of fallout with this, but this is not your typical brown. It's a little cooler tone for a brown, but it still has a warm undertone to it because of the glitter in it. Not the glitter, because the glitter is silver. It still has a warm undertone, but it's definitely kind of on the borderline between warm and neutral. It's not the best shade, honestly. It's a little chunky, and it applies with a lot of rich pigmentation, but it does have that chunky look to it, so it's not my favorite. Crowbar Black with golden metallic pearl and micro glitter. This is like an olive green with warm undertones, and then you have gold glitter in a metallic finish. It's just a pretty shade. I like lining my eyes with shades like this. And then the last one, and it is a little bit looser and less creamy than some of the others. Sorry to skip that. Delete is a deep chestnut brown matte satin. This is a dark brown, and it has reddish undertones. Again, we're in the warmer section. I love this shade. Look at how beautiful that is. You can see the reddish undertones, matte, applies beautifully, really silky, really beautiful. It blends, I mean, all of these blend beautifully. As I'm blending it, they all blend beautifully. I like this. I like it a lot, and I get what they're trying to accomplish. But I think you have to go into this knowing what you're getting and being happy with that cooler undertone look. But if you want that and you want to have smoky eye, this is an amazing palette. The other thing I would say, I really actually like the brushes that Urban Decay puts in their palettes. I love Urban Decay brushes, but this is the one palette where I've been like, maybe they should have put a black eyeliner, because I feel like this is a little bit like the Smoked palette, which I also really liked. Not the Smoky Naked, but the Smoked. You need a black eyeliner for this one, in my opinion. So overall, just to sum it up and just shut up because this is a long video, this is a very high quality, pretty, beautiful, unique, distinctive palette. Perfect for some, but a total pass for others. And I have to say, I do like the Spectrum palette better than this one. So if you're going to pick between the two, I would go with Spectrum. But it is bright. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Please subscribe on YouTube. I want to hear people's feedback on this because I had a hard time with this video. This one was one of those where I was kind of a little conflicted on what to say and my conclusion, because I'm trying to be helpful here a little bit. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and that's the end of the video. I'll shut up.